Hello and welcome to The Lawless Way, a series of talks based on the book called The Lawless Way, a book of hope, peace and freedom, written by the amazing author Philip J. Bradbury, who's me. Today, a little leaning is what we're talking about. A little leaning, not learning. See, we're standing on sacred ground, on the ground of our ancestors of 40,000 years. No, we were standing on sacred ground. This has changed. Nothing is sacred now. Everything is owned. We are simply standing in that is now. The memories of old are extinguished. The past has collapsed into the dust on which we stand. The rocks and pebbles that had so much substance, shape and weight, they have ground themselves to powder as the past and future collide and grind our weightlessness to nothing. See, geological compression takes time, a very long time, to cross rotting trees and detritus, to coal and then to diamonds. That was then. This is now. The compression of our histories, our memories, and of our must-be's is occurring quicker by the day, by the hour, by the minute. This acceleration of collapse is beyond our awareness. Well, sort of. We know we're more stressed now as we pore over the black and white photos of our youth. Oh, how simple and free it was back then. We worked hard, but it was uncomplicated. Men went out to work and women stayed home. Men mowed the lawn and fixed the car while women cleaned the house and cooked. The picket fence certainty of roles and rules is enchanting as we look back. We told racist and sexist jokes, but not anymore. We're all offended by everything. We're too scared to say what's in our hearts. We have gagged ourselves. See, back then, a building permit cost $100, was issued on the spot, and we never saw an inspector. Those houses are still standing, smiling solidly 60 years later. Now, a friend told me yesterday his building permit has taken 4.5 years to date, and it is still not approved. A driving license cost $8, was 5 verbal questions and a 5-minute drive around the block. We'd be given a truck and motorbike license without the test, along with our car license. And now it takes years to get a car license, and it costs as much as our first car. We didn't need permission to dig a well, renovate our houses, cut down trees, use a chainsaw or a gun. We just did it. Then in those short 60 years, less than a lifetime, they've gone for us. They've steadily chipped away at every freedom we owned. We set up our own phone lines and electrical supply. We grew our own crops, harvested the seed and replanted it over and over. We disciplined our own children and we accepted responsibility for our actions. We built our own playgrounds and swimming pools. That has changed. We must now buy water, power, seed, and the advice of building inspectors who can't lift a hammer. People without children tell us how to raise our own. People without conscience charge us for natural resources that aren't theirs. We sell our water to foreigners who never step on our shores while animals and people die in the drought. I mean not to complain, but simply to explain, to remind. See, our lives have become compressed, regulated, and supervised. Google knows more about you than your neighbours and family do, while the police know your every move, even when your phone's off, which is seldom thanks to our desperate need for connection. We have become frightened, distant, distrustful, and careful. Oh, so careful. Too frightened to offend, too frightened to take a risk, too frightened to buck the system. Some say justifiably so, and I say, at what cost? In earlier years, our misdemeanors were local and forgotten, or they became the stuff of local legends. Today's misadventures are recorded digitally, universally, and we don't know who's watching. We've shrunk ourselves into obedient fools with no perspective. We accept that we must spend thousands on swimming pool fences while we live right next door to an unfenced river or ocean. We complain when idiots burn down 5G towers because the authorities are upset, the anonymous authorities. Though the burning of these towers is saving lives, we cringe because our lives have become less valuable than obedience to the unknowable ones. We have chosen to give these nameless ones power over our every move, word and thought, and we haven't complained. Like obedient cows, we complicitly bear the whip and the barking dog. We follow other cows up the narrow, muddy path to be tied and milked for our goodness. Then we're told which paddock we must graze in, never testing the one-wire fence that keeps us from something so delicious and unsprayed we'd orgasm with delight. But no, we can't have the abundance up the road round the corner, for those nameless ones say we shouldn't, or that we must pay what we cannot afford to have it. We smile, and maybe we daren't smile, accept the limitations the insane impose on us. How did it come to this? Slowly, grinding slowly. We didn't notice as each day one more little rule, one more can't say that, one more penalty, one more tightening of the screw crept into our lives. Bullshit. We did notice it. We grimaced as we received a $140 fine for driving with our elbow out the window. We complained to our neighbours, and they, good and obedient citizens, castigated us for endangering some unknown creature. So we doubted ourselves. We objected when the sawdust that kept our children safe in the playground was taken away while the abrasive plastic was installed. A free and effective resource was replaced by an expensive one, and the neighbours applauded that the council cared. No one took note of the higher count of bloody knees and hands, and we doubted ourselves again. In so many ways we objected, often dumbly inside our head lest anyone be offended, and then we doubted ourselves. And that, my friends, is how we have come to this narrow, muddy path today, offering ourselves to be milked for more of our goodness. No one did this to us. We did it. So if we got us into what we don't like, who might be able to get us out, I wonder? Maybe that one-wire fence isn't as stout and fearsome as we imagine. Maybe, just maybe, we could do a little leaning, slowly, relentlessly, small action after small action. In just the same way we got in, we could get out. Just an idea for today, friends.